I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally
Maybe we should
stalks her.
turn the TV off.
Weird. So we didn't
Okay.
do that this time.
Turn it off, okay?
According to Variety, Hunger Games prequel lands on top in the United States box office, so technically it was a good weekend run for the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. The movie made almost $44 million from North American theaters and a total of $98 million globally in its first weekend of release. Although the movie had a good head start, it didn't impress the audiences enough in comparison to its predecessors. Also, it wasn't a bad one for one of the most hated actresses in the world right now, Rachel Zegler, who played the role of Lucy Gray Baird, which begs the question, is Rachel Zegler back and has she been forgiven? We'll get to that in a jiffy, so sit back and relax. The Hunger Games. If you're just hearing about it, the Hunger Games films have been a major rage ever since the franchise began. The latest release was able to succeed over other movies that released over the weekend, like Universal and DreamWorks Animation's threequel Trolls Band Together, Taika Waititi's Next Goal Wins, and Sony's Thanksgiving. Oh, I almost forgot to mention that Marvel's latest outing, The Marvels, failed to create magic at the box office. The new Hunger Games film is based on Suzanne Collins' 2020 novel, and as you already know, it featured Tom Blythe and the controversial Rachel Zegler. The latest release is a standalone film in the Hunger Games franchise, which takes place 6 decades before Katniss Everdeen bravely volunteered as tribute. The storyline centers on a young Coriolanus Snow, who later becomes the tyrannical president of the dystopian Panem, as well as District 12 tribute Lucy Gray Baird, whom he mentors in the 10th annual Hunger Games. Just so you know, the odds were never in favor of the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, especially after casting Rachel, who has been under fire since her comments on Snow White. But against all odds, the movie managed to emerge victorious in a busy box office weekend despite opening slightly behind expectations. The movie, which takes us back to the dystopia of Panem for the first time in nearly a decade, raked up close to $100 million globally in its first weekend of release. Of course, this might be below par with some standards when compared to its predecessors. Speaking of predecessors, each of the 4 Hunger Games installments raked in $100 million at the domestic box office during their first weekend, but hopes are high for Rachel's latest release as analysts believe the movie is well positioned in its theatrical run. This is a very good opening for an action-adventure prequel. On average, prequels start with approximately half of the previous film's opening, and this weekend's figure is close to that. So far, the movie has been met with lots and lots of positive reviews. Even though most reviews have been mixed, the movie has a 64% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it gladly takes a B+ on Cinema Score, which also corroborates with our video title that Rachel Zegler seems to be back. Rachel Zegler kill her role. Speaking of Rachel, her acting was honestly above average. I don't know how well people have seen the movie, but Rachel brought her A-game and killed her role. Beyond acting, Rachel brought a musical twist to the dystopian universe, including a sequence where Lucy sings to the crowd after being chosen at the reaping. Producer Nina Jacobson describes Rachel's performance in this scene as jaw-dropping. During her interview with Digital Spy, she said, "It was unbelievable to watch that sequence. We didn't have visual effects, so it was all imagined at that moment. But for one, Rachel is a maniac, and so she sings live on set every time. Actors hardly ever do that. I've never seen another actor choose to not use playback, but to actually just go ahead and sing live every take." Her voice and the emotion of that performance, it was jaw-dropping. She gave me chills. It made you want to tear up. It was crazy. Not bad for an actress who many say is one of the most hated in Hollywood. The positive review didn't end with Nina Jacobson though. Director Francis Lawrence was also full of praise for the youngster as well. Popular media outlet IndieWire was also not left out as they sang the praises of Rachel. The biggest reason why this movie sings is because Rachel Zegler is in it as Lucy Gray Baird, the rare Hollywood prequel that towers over the rest of its franchise. Well, it seems the fans have spoken and Rachel Zegler did kill her role in the Hunger Games, but can she win back their hearts after her awful comments about Snow White? What do the reviews mean for Rachel Zegler? Speaking of reviews, this might sound far-fetched, but I think Rachel still has it in her irrespective of what she's said in the past. We all know it's not going to be easy winning back the fans after what she did, but with resilience and dedication, she might just be lucky. Also, the positive reviews from producers, directors, and social media outlets Rachel got are just enough to keep landing her roles, and if she keeps bringing her A game, the industry will adjust and she might metamorphose from being that despised fellow to one of the industry's favorites. And the funny thing about Hollywood is that once the top guys like you, and with a few positive PR campaigns, the fans will fall in line in due time. This is because the fans will mostly be seeing the actor's face in all the posters, trailers, and all campaigns dedicated to promoting the movie. So I think the positive reviews are just what Rachel needs right now, and perhaps a mouth padlock or something for future purposes. Now, will it be surprising to see bad reviews about the Hunger Games, particularly with Rachel starring in it? Absolutely no! As a matter of fact, there are speculations that the movie didn't make the figure being quoted by Lionsgate and that the media are working overtime to spin the truth about the movie. In a trending video, a YouTuber revealed that the movie flopped and didn't make its budget back in a week as the media reported, but rather made 50% less than that, all because Rachel starred in it.
Her new movie, Hunger Games, is out, and the media is already working overtime to try and spin this into some wild success, even though the movie, well, I think by all measure has been an absolute failure. In fact, TMZ even lied about the box office numbers, pretending that it made its budget back up in week one, when in fact, the numbers were 50% less than that.
Understandably, Rachel is getting lots of heat from the community because of her wokeness and unwarranted comments on Snow White, but lies shouldn't crawl in. I mean, there's a thin line between lies and hypocrisy. Is Rachel back and has she been forgiven? The short answer to this is yes. Rachel Zegler is back. So far, Rachel has granted a few interviews where she spoke about the Hunger Games movie, and she was well behaved in all the sessions with no wokeness or unsolicited comments. The only question I don't have an answer to is if Rachel has been forgiven. Honestly, I don't think the fans would easily forget those distasteful words, but we never can tell. Also, from the look of things in the community, the probability of fans giving Rachel a second chance is very low. In fact, she seems to be getting new hate comments daily since Hunger Games arrived on the big screen. Do you agree with the assumption that Hunger Games flopped because Rachel starred in it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. While at it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more premium content.